Republican Senator Ted Cruz is a member of the Senate Judiciary Committee, so he'll be part of the confirmation hearings. He's also on the president's list of prospective nominees made before this vacancy on the court. Senator Cruz, good morning. Those were your words 4 years ago. You don't believe that anymore?
Well, good morning. It's good to be with you. Thank you for having me. You know, it's interesting. If you look at the debate 4 years ago, every single political player has switched positions. I looked at your clip of politicians from 2016. You know who you didn't play? Joe Biden. You didn't play Hillary Clinton. You didn't play Nancy Pelosi. You didn't play Chuck Schumer. Why? Because every one of them is saying exactly the opposite of what they're saying now. Everyone has switched positions, and so the whole promo you're pushing about hypocrisy, if you want to say it, you could say everybody involved in this is a hypocrite. Now,
so is that okay, Senator Cruz?
By the way, we have actually said that on this broadcast,
yes,
but that doesn't.
But I listened to your promo, and you only played the words of Republicans. I saw your tweet saying, Ted Cruz, why has he switched his positions? And I'm curious, when you have Chuck Schumer or Joe Biden on, does your tweet say,
we invite them to come on? We'd love to have them on.
But did you tweet and say, why did they change positions?
We've mentioned they changed positions, Senator. We actually have. But that doesn't, you're not answering the question of why you do change your position.
I'm trying. You're interrupting me. I'm trying to answer the question.
Go ahead.
Everybody has changed their positions. Every Democrat has flipped. But there's actually a reason for that, which is both sides believe something fundamentally different about Supreme Court justices. The Democrats, and Joe Biden has promised to nominate liberal activist judges who will undermine our free speech rights, our religious liberty rights, our Second Amendment rights. Republicans, President Trump ran promising to nominate principled constitutionalists to the court, and the American people elected him. The American people also elected a Republican majority, not just once, not twice, 3 times, in 2014, 2016, 2018. The Republican majority in the Senate ran promising to confirm constitutionalist judges. And if you actually look at history, there's a clear pattern in history. So we can assess, all right, what typically happens in this circumstance? This circumstance has arisen 29 times in the history of our country, 29 times.
I don't want to go through the whole history of this, Senator.
But hold on, Anthony, because it actually is like really relevant for everything you're saying. You may not want to talk about it, but it's...
No, I do want to talk about it, but history takes a long time, Senator. We don't have that much time.
Okay,
and you made the point this hadn't happened. You made the point 4 years ago this hadn't happened in 80 years. And I want to go to the point here, too, that as you point out, the president won the election, but he didn't win the popular vote, and the polls suggest that 62% of people right now think the winner of this election should pick the Supreme Court justice. What do you say to that?
Anthony, here's what history shows. Whenever the president and the Senate are controlled by the same party, the Senate almost always confirms nominations in a presidential election year. It's happened 19 times. The Senate has confirmed it 17 times. Whenever the president and the Senate are controlled by opposite parties, as it was 4 years ago with Barack Obama, the Senate doesn't confirm the nominee. That's happened 10 times in our history. The Senate's only confirmed the nominee twice. Now, you may say that's just a question of partisan power. It's actually not. It's a question of the people deciding. This issue was litigated. It was litigated to the American people. It was a major reason. It was the single biggest reason I personally voted for Donald Trump, is because he promised to nominate justices in the mold of Scalia and Thomas. And if you want to understand the stakes, as you know, I've got a new book that is coming out a week from today. It's called One Vote Away. And it talks about what the Supreme Court is all about, how a single Supreme Court seat can change history. Every chapter talks about a different constitutional right. And I spent my career before I was in the Senate, litigating before the Supreme Court. So the book tells the inside war stories of the landmark cases behind free speech and religious liberty and the Second Amendment. It tells what's really going on in a way that is understandable, in a way you don't have to be a lawyer to understand, but if you care about the Bill of Rights, the book, One Vote Away, it's available on Amazon right now for pre-order, will explain what the stakes are right now in this choice.
What's the name of that book again, Senator Cruz?
One Vote Away.
One Vote Away. Okay, so let's pick up on that for a second. Are you looking for a justice who will strike down Obamacare and reverse Roe v. Wade? Are you hoping that?
I'm looking for a justice who will be faithful to the law and the Constitution. So there's an entire chapter. You asked about Roe versus Wade. There's an entire chapter in the book on the issue of life. And one of the interesting things that a lot of people don't necessarily know. Would you like to see that reversed? Would you like to, because we don't have the book yet, so would you like to see it reversed? I think Roe versus Wade was wrongly decided, but here's a point very few people understand. If Roe versus Wade were reversed, the consequence would not outlaw abortion. It would simply return to the way it was for most of the history of our country, which means it would be decided by the state legislatures. Each state would make different decisions reflecting the values of their citizens. And here's the other point, and I talk about this at great length in the chapter on life in the book. If Joe Biden gets one additional liberal justice on the court, we're one vote away. I litigated the federal partial birth abortion case. That's the federal law that prohibits the really gruesome practice of partial birth abortion. The court upheld that law 5-4. It meant there were 4 justices ready to strike that down and to say that you can have no limitations whatsoever on abortion, that partial birth abortion is mandated by the Constitution, no parental consent, no parental notification. Those are extreme positions.
Senator.
And we're one vote away from that. That's what Joe Biden is promising, and that's not what the American people want. That's far out of the mainstream.
Senators Collins and Murkowski have both said they would prefer this vote not happen, Republicans, before the election. Senator Graham says you already have the votes to pass the Supreme Court nominee without even knowing who it is. Do you have the votes?
We do. I believe we have the votes. I don't know for sure, but I believe we do. And I think it's critically important that we vote before Election Day. And let me tell you why. Joe Biden has already told us that he intends to challenge the legitimacy of this election. If he doesn't win on Election Day, he's hired a team of lawyers. He plans to bring lawsuits challenging the election. 20 years ago, in the year 2000, we had Bush versus Gore. I was part of the legal team that represented George W. Bush and Bush versus Gore in Florida. There's a whole chapter in the book on Bush versus Gore. So if you want to understand what could happen on Election Day if Joe Biden challenges it.
But also, but
here's the critical point.
One last point.
Okay, let me just get a sentence in.
Biden hasn't said that either.
Well, Hillary Clinton has told Joe Biden, under no circumstances should you concede. That's what she said directly.
Senator, the president has said that if he doesn't win, the election is a fake. So, I mean, there are going to be probably challenges on both sides.
He's going to challenge the election. Joe Biden has. But here's the critical point. If
Senator, we've got it. Unfortunately, we have to go. I appreciate you being with us this morning.
Justices, and it's divided 4-4. It can't make a decision. We need a full court to resolve that so we don't have a constitutional crisis. We don't have chaos.
But
we don't want to see this election.
Republicans were okay with the court being 4-4 for months after you wouldn't even consider Merrick Garland. Thank you, Senator Cruz, for being with us this morning.
You didn't have the promise of the candidate to challenge the election like we do now.